right, I think we can just start.
You're getting to be a real whiz at all of this, Tong, right? Figuring
Yeah.
it all out. I mean, how did you make that little sign with the jumping letters?
Oh, that's Joe's job.
Oh, tell him I loved it.
I know it's fun. It's funny. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the behind man.
Well done it. Good for him. Yeah, that's great.
Okay. So you want to start, Catherine?
Oh, yeah, sure. Um, so thank you so much for teaching the master class. It was really insightful, and I definitely learned like a lot from it. Um, oh, so I wanted to talk about like some things in your past, such as performing soloist, chamber musician, as well as like concertmaster for a lot of really good orchestras. So I just really wanted to ask, out of all of your experiences, what stuck with you the most?
What did what the most?
What stuck with you the most? Like,
What stuck with me the most? You know what? That's not me. Because actually, what what was the most interesting thing about my career was that I did so many different things.
uh,
And um, I come from a totally different generation than you. I mean, I'm two generations away from you.
yeah.
So it's a little bit hard for you to understand some of the things, but I'm like uh, one of the initial women's libbers.
Oh, wow.
Oh, sure. That was that when I was your age, it was the beginnings of that.
Oh.
So one of the things I did, and partly just from, uh, it was from, I used to be married, and it was partly because of my husband's experiences, that I ended up here in Oberlin because it was initially his job. But I was very interested in lots of things, and there was a drive for us to achieve because we had to be better than the males. And I know it sounds funny, but it is true. And I don't think that's necessarily true now, although that when the girls are really working like crazy, but they don't have. We had a sort of desperation about us. It's true. Oh yeah, it's true. And so essentially, I had to find jobs where my husband was.
Mm.
And you asked, I saw some of those questions. I'd forgotten that I looked at them. You had asked what made me be interested in the Baroque violin.
Mhm.
And you might be very surprised at my answer. And I am very interested in it. I took to it really well. Um, but I learned to play the Baroque violin because I did not have a job.
Oh, wow.
It was a different time. First of all, I had 3 children by the time I was 25 years old.
Dang.
That's one thing. And that definitely changed my life a lot. But I had a very good situation. My husband was in a PhD program at the University of Michigan.
Mhm.
And I had a very good situation there. I had a job as a visiting professor at Eastern Michigan University, and I was assistant concertmaster in the Toledo Orchestra, and I was playing up a storm everywhere, getting to play concertos with all the little orchestras around and everything. And all of a sudden, he got this job in Oberlin. I had a 3-year-old and 7-month-old twins. And I moved to Oberlin, and I thought I moved to the end of the world. I had never lived in a small town before. And the job was, there were 2 violinists, and they were in the New Hungarian String Quartet. And it was totally tenured, and that was it. There was nothing for me to do in this little town.
Mm.
And the next year, my friends, I got a sabbatical job at a nearby college, and I taught for a while in the prep department at the Cleveland Institute. I mean, I did everything. I
Mhm.
taught a class in historical performance at Case Western Reserve University, but I didn't have a real solid job. And I played all the contemporary music at Oberlin because the two professors did not want to play it, which was a good thing. I learned all, and at that time it was, I hate to say it, but it was more difficult stuff than it is now. Um, my friend moved to town and they were interested in early music. And so they said, oh, you know, why don't you join us? And let's see. And I got a very big break as a result of that. Got a connection with the Smithsonian Institution, and I have played hundreds of concerts as a result of that connection. But I always have been interested. I mean, it was obvious that it was an interesting field and it was something interesting, but it was mainly because I did not have another job. And I think that's something that your generation should understand, that when an opportunity comes along,
Mhm.
mhm,
It's a
or
very story.
well, you should see, because now so many violinists of your generation play Baroque violin and modern violin. A lot of them. And when I started, everybody said, "Oh, you're really good at it. You should just do that." And I tried it for 1 year. I only played Baroque violin. I didn't practice my modern violin for 1 year.
Mhm.
And at the end of that year, I just missed Brahms terribly. I
Oh.
missed it so much. And I said, I can't do this.
Mhm.
And so I was one of the very few people who kept both of those going. And I always did that. I always did that.
So, violin wasn't really much of a thing that you thought about beforehand as much like you saw it and then you took the opportunity, right?
Well, see, I didn't really have a choice as to whether I was going to play the violin.
Oh, okay, I
My
see.
father was a frustrated violinist.
Ah.
So my sister and I both played. My sister still plays too, as a matter of fact. So I just grew up expecting to be a violinist.
Wow.
You know, now you people are very tracked.
Mhm.
A lot of you, you say like, "Oh, I want to be in an orchestra," or "Oh, I don't want to be in an orchestra. I want to do the competition," or "Oh, I want to do." There was no such thing when I was your age. Just practiced, and I remember somebody asking me, "What did I want to be?" And I said, "What did I want to do?" And I said, "Oh, I want to be a violinist." And they just said, "Oh, you're doing great, dear. Just keep practicing. You'll do fine." It's different now.
Mhm.
It's different now. But I didn't make the choice. I definitely did not make the choice. It's not like I did it to please my father, but it was kind of understood, and that was the way I was raised.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of violinists are raised that way. They're made to practice a lot when they're young, and that's sort of what they're good at doing. But it was a slightly different time.
Mhm. So, do you have any advice for like students who are trying to pursue a life in music or
It's,
they're kind of like on the edge, they're not sure?
it's, oh, because you're going to be a double degree student. Is
Oh
that true?
yeah, yeah.
What's your other interest?
It's in the medical field, but specifically it's global health.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, I
Mhm.
think this day and age, it's probably not a bad idea to have another interest, and you can certainly manage. I mean, if you want to manage the two things in college, you can do it. I have a lot of double degree students. My best student is double degree.
Mhm.
Um, what things make you decide? I don't think you can decide.
Mm.
I think you have to work as hard as you possibly can to get as far as you can. You can't decide until you see what your potential is.
Mm.
I mean, you have a lot of potential. I can tell you that. You've got a lot of potential. beautifully, you know.
Mhm.
But we keep evolving, you know. You have one experience, you have another experience, you work with one person or you play certain concerts or and it will affect you. You should not be expected at the age of 17 to know what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Preposterous.
Yeah.
You can say, I want to try this, or you can say, I want to work on this,
Mhm.
but you shouldn't say, oh, well, you can say, oh, like I have one student who he just finished his sophomore year and he wants to play the Brahms violin concerto for the concerto competition when he is a senior. And I did not want him to work on the Brahms violin concerto this year, but he insisted. He, he has this terribly rigid idea of what will make him a great violinist, you know. But I admire him. I mean, he works very hard at it. But I don't think that's practical.
Mm.
I don't think it's practical to say, I mean, you probably know what you want to do on the violin, no? What do you want to do if you had your choice? What would you do?
I honestly don't know.
That means you got to keep working until you figure it out.
Yeah, that's true.
Honestly, I think that's the only way. You might say after 2 years, you might say, I am not going to practice 4 hours a day.
Yes.
Is that what you do now?
Well, I hope or I wish I could practice that much, but I don't.
Well, that's what I tell kids they should do.
Mm.
I say 4 hours. And, you know, no, everybody doesn't.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not possible. But I think that's what about the amount you should be plugging away.
Mhm. So,
Yeah.
I know that I'm Tong Shu's or Tong Yan's student, and then she was once your student. So, do you remember any interesting or funny or just any insightful stories between you two?
Oh, I know a great one. And I didn't know about it until this year. Uh, the story that I thought was so good was that she sent a tape when she wanted to enter school.
Mhm.
I thought it was terrific. And I wrote her a note saying, this, this what you played a terrific audition. And her English wasn't very good. So she thought I said terrible. She thought it was terrible audition. And she was depressed. Looked it up in the dictionary. I like that story about you a lot. I didn't know that until you told me that this fall.
Yes, yes. I still have the email that you sent me when I saw this. Your audition was terrific. I was like, oh my gosh, it was terrible, even worse than terrible.
Uh, she also had a lot of boyfriends.
Oh no! Oh my god, Catherine, you shouldn't ask this question.
No, that's all right. I won't say any more. But everybody used to watch her because she was so cute. She still is cute. And so it was sort of the talk of the conservatory. She probably didn't know that, but it was.
Okay.
I know another thing about you. Um, she played one of your. What was your famous piece? The Isai Sanson. The
Uh,
da-da-da-da-da-dum, da-dum, da-dum.
oh yeah.
The what is it? Valse something.
Well, yeah, yeah. I can't remember. I mean, it was a long time ago.
Sanson, but it's arranged by Isai. It was a big fancy piece, and she played it really well. And like the president of the college or somebody in the administration heard her play it and said, oh, she plays that so well. She has to play it on this big conference they were going to have. Some big, do you remember it was a big concert? It wasn't a concert. It was like a
Yeah, something. But I mean, I
yeah,
just didn't know like what.
yeah.
When people tell me to play, I play.
Some famous was coming to speak and they said, we're going to start this with her playing the violin so that they see what kind of a student we have here at Oberlin, you know.
Oh.
It's time to go on, and she's nowhere to be found. And the great big chapel was filled with people, you know, like hundreds and hundreds of people. And do you remember somehow you arrived, you and your famous pianist, who was also a piece of work.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
it was the two of them. They were great together. They were just great. But of course they had so many things going on that they weren't always on time, and they weren't always whatever. And they like pushed you out on the stage. I remember because I was so nervous, and they said, "Where is she?" They said to me, "Where is she?" I said, "I don't have the vaguest idea," you know, and we didn't have fancy phones or anything at that time. And then you came tearing out on the stage, and you just knocked the spots off the piece. It was terrific. I do remember that.
Oh, thank you. I was nervous too. I was like, oh, it's my turn. Oh my gosh.
Well, you've got a big thing going here now. That's wonderful.
Oh,
Now,
thank
that's another look at Catherine. This is another example of she wouldn't have, Tom wouldn't have to do this. She'd had a great job, right? Other people would be totally happy. And she took another opportunity to do something. You're going to change lots of people's lives by doing this, you know.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. Yeah, I think, I mean, I have the source to help, you know, ability to help more people. I think I'm not wasting my life.
Good for you.
Thank you.
I have to go because I am actually invited to an outdoor supper in a half an hour, and I have to make a course.
Oh, no problem. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To see you.
Yeah, it's always great to see. I really want to give you a hug, but I cannot. But
Well, Catherine, I wish you luck at Northwestern.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can tell you that where the new music building is at Northwestern, it's a very beautiful building. That wasn't there when I was there. That was the place, that was like a park on the woods where everybody went with their boyfriends. Oh, no. It's from the music school. Okay, well, good luck to you, Catherine, and thank you, Tom.
Thank you. Thank you.
Keep in touch, Tom. Let me know how you're doing.
Absolutely. Maybe I'll invite you again if you have time.
Oh, yeah, sure, of course. Sometime whatever you want me to do, I'm happy to do. But let me know how you're doing, you know.
Thank you.
Everybody stay safe. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, you too. And you look really good. I mean, after this big thing, you look really, really good.
Catherine probably doesn't know.
Oh, yeah.
Thanksgiving weekend, I broke my pelvis and my neck.
Oh, wow.
Look at my neck.
That's great.
Look at my pelvis. Yeah,
Well,
I'm doing really well. It's something of it's really a blessing. I mean, every day I go, thank you.
yeah, I'm so glad you're fine. You just look. I mean, I think it look even better than before.
Oh, good. That's because I'm not in Houston. It wasn't 110 degrees like it was when I was there. Oh, it was so hot when we were there, remember?
Yeah, yeah. Now it's getting hot too.
Yeah, I'll bet. Well, it's 92 here in Oberlin, which is very hot for Oberlin.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay, practice hard, everybody.
Okay, thank you. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.